Hey everyone, it's Chris with B- Demos, and this week's video is going to be just a little bit different. A lot of times I try to maybe prepare a song or something, maybe I'll record something, which is still a relatively new thing to me. I really had never done that before I started making these videos. But this week, it's been a busy week. My recording schedule, I try to film on Saturdays. It's really the only day I have, and I try to spend Sunday editing and getting it posted and stuff, and that way I still have time for my job and spend time with family and stuff like that. So this weekend also happens to be my birthday, so I decided instead of planning something big and elaborate, I'd keep it a little more simple today. I've been listening to the No Gods, No Master Volumes podcast a lot, and one of the things that they say on there, so they say it all the time, is they talk about how when they're looking for a pedal to be demoed, the problem is that a lot of times they find like shredders or like your blues lawyer kind of guys or your CCM guys or something like that. And they're like, I just want to hear a big fat open chord, just a big fat power chord. I just want to hear like a nasty sounding fuzz with a bunch of reverb or something like that, just something simple. And I feel the same way. It's the reason I started making these videos. A lot of times I'm wondering how something is going to fit into my setting as a guy who, yes, I play a lot of punk rock and hardcore, that's where my roots are as a musician, and so I play that a lot, but I also play, I'm a huge post-rock fan, and I try to get into some of that. I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying I'm a good guitar player or anything like that, but it's fun, and I sit down and I turn everything on and I just make a bunch of noise, and that can be a lot of fun. But I don't always see pedal demos that really apply to the way I play guitar. And if you watched my intro video for the channel, which it's still up, you can go take a look at it, that's kind of my goal. That's one of my goals here, is to show things in a way that I don't always see them shown. I want to make a video that I feel would help me if I were looking for a product. And so, yeah, this week I'm just going to keep it simple. I've been praising the TwoNotes Opus over the last several videos. I'm still using the Opus. I'm going to show you the two, settings, the two amps that I use most often when I'm coming in here and I just want to sit down, just turn all the pedals on and make a bunch of noise and just have some fun for myself without trying to, make a video or have a point to what I'm doing or anything like that, So I'm going to go through some sounds here. I'm going to let you guys know what my two favorite settings are, and then we'll just kind of talk a little bit about, some things that I have planned for the future. So thanks for sticking around. Let's get into some of the sounds. Okay, so right off the bat, one of the first things that I want to do, I'm going to put up a screenshot of the first amp that I'm using, and this really is my go-to amp. It is the Foxy in the TwoNotes Opus, which is their Vox model. I tend to use this. I'll either use an orange 212 with V30s with a 57 on it, which I do have on right now, and I'll either use an orange 412 or another 212 along with that. If I use another 212, which is what I have on here right now, it's usually mic'd with a 121, so you end up getting the same cabinet but with two mics is basically what I'm going for. Both of these are own hammer, so it ends up being kind of the same thing. That's kind of my clean tone. That's on the bridge. I recently purchased these Porter Gatekeeper H90s, which is like a P90 style. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. P90 style humbucker sized pickup. This is like a budget offering from Porter Pickups. This is $100 for the set. I also just installed, before I started shooting this, the Mojotone wireless, or I'm sorry, Mojotone solderless, man, I gotta get my thoughts together. Mojotone solderless wiring harness for my SG. And then I use these Planet Waves locking auto trim tuners. I have the same ones on my ESP. These are my favorite tuners. I've had them on other guitars as well. All right, so that's the Vox. I'm gonna go through a couple of sounds. We're gonna start with, let's see, let me dial this back a little bit. And I'm just gonna play simple riffs. It's not about what I'm playing, you know, like I'm just trying to give some really big open sounds. I'm gonna start with the 1312 from Black Mass, which is it's a rat-based pedal. It's got a number of different clipping options that can be selected through this clipping dial right here. I've got it on my favorite setting. I'm gonna leave it there for now, and maybe I'll do a more in-depth video on this before. I've done one already, but I changed the way I do my videos since then, so maybe I'll do another one. But here we go. That is what I had on for the intro clip. I added my Walrus Audio Fathom to it, so I'm gonna add that in right here. This is a really cool reverb. I really like it a lot. You'll also probably hear a little bit of humming in the background. These pickups, I don't know if it's because of the light shining right down on them or what. These pickups are a little more noisy than I was hoping for. But other than that, I like the way they sound. So this was my intro tone. And you've got those trails on that reverb. I really like that a lot. This reverb I've got it set to a lo-fi setting right now, which I didn't realize I had it on. I usually use the plate setting. But let's see, let's turn this up. This thing can get like really ambient, you know, really stretch out some chords. And I really like it. This is the Walrus Audio ARP 87. So it's one of my favorite delays I've ever had. But this is kind of what that sounds like. And that really trails on. I love how you can, I mean, as you guys heard, I messed up, and that's okay. You know, I love how reverb and delay can take something very simple and just make it sound nice and pretty. I'm also a really big fan of stacking my Super Overdrive with this Black Mass fuzz. So I'm gonna turn that on. You're definitely gonna hear some buzz. Again, I think that's maybe the light affecting the pickups, or maybe I didn't wire them right. Something, I don't know. It's a solderless, so it shouldn't matter, but here we go. The sustain on this, on that black mass, is crazy. I love it so much. And I mean, when you add something like a reverb to it, it gets kind of wild, in a good way, in my opinion. So I love the sustain on this. You get those really nice, big open sounds, adding the reverb to it. Now we're gonna go to my next amp. This is kind of my other quote unquote go-to amp. Okay, the second one that I go for most often, again, when I'm just wanting to sit down and just make a bunch of sound with the pedals and I'm really playing the pedals more than I'm playing anything else. The Tanger model inside the Opus, which is their orange model, I think, if I remember correctly, it's based off of a Reverb, and I put the settings up on there. Again, I have orange 412 with a 57 on this, and an orange 212 with a 57 on this. Both of them have vintage 30s in it. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. We're gonna add that 1312 in here. And I have just a little bit of reverb on the amp itself, so that sound was without any additional reverb. You really hear that hum when I'm on the orange. It's bothersome, to say the least. But I'm gonna do this. We're just gonna make a lot of noise and see what happens with it. Alright guys, hey, that's basically it for this week. I appreciate you hanging out with me today on my birthday. It's not going to be my birthday when you see this, but I appreciate you coming and hanging out anyhow. I've got a lot of stuff coming. I think one of the next videos I'm going to do, I have been really hyping up the TwoNotes Opus, and I do love it, but it's not perfect. So I think I'm going to do a video on some of the things that I wish were a little different. I've got some stuff coming in. I pre-ordered the Sender 5 from Buzzimp. So I'm really excited about that coming in. It's a like a Green Russian, I think a Green Russian style fuzz pedal with a boost toggle, and I think an HM2 tone stack that you can kick in. So it's a really cool pedal. I really dig all of the videos that I've seen on it. I have a couple other things here. I have this chorus pedal that I picked up super cheap from Flamma. I think for budget gear, they make incredible gear. I have this Matthews Effect Architect that I really love the sound of, but it is so quiet. It's probably not going to hang around. It's just not loud enough for anything else on the board. I pre-ordered the Zoom MG50 Plus, I think is what it's called. I don't have that in front of me, but that was a device that had been around for like a decade or more, 12 years, something like that. And at NAMM, they just released an update to it. I'm really excited to check that out. Multi-effects unit. It's budget friendly. It's like $160, $150, something like that. But it has some preamps in it that you can use. You can use it as kind of a all-in-one type pedal. You can run up to 6 effects at one time, which I love. I'm gonna make some ambient patches and some shoegazy kind of patches and stuff like that. Yeah, but I've got a lot of stuff coming. Listen, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me every time you're here. And like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Check me out on Instagram. It's at B_minus_Chris. And then you can find me on like TikTok and stuff. It's pretty much the same name. You guys have an amazing week.